Hi everybody! I'm just starting my live, and what a great introduction Els did. So now I'm going to see if I can find myself.
Hi everybody!
Whoa! I was just listening to Els, of course, so my sound is still on. Had to take that off, and hopefully now you can see me on Facebook. Just checking the comments here. Oh, hello, I see people coming in already. Hi everybody. Hi Jen, hi Tracy. Yes, you found me, Therese. Hi Sylvia, hi Anna. Thank you, Els. Yes, really cool background. Hi Ingrid. I'm just waiting a little bit to see people coming in, so I'll give you some time to come back and find me. Hi Patricia. Oh, thank you. Hi Belinda, I love the new release. Thank you so much. We had so much fun creating this new release, and fall is a really fun time for creating stuff. I really love the colors, of course, and yes, it's always nice working on new collections. Hi Carol, Fab Collection, thank you. Yes, looking forward to seeing this. Hi Debbie. Well, I want it all. Great job, thank you. Let's see, I think we can start now with giving you some inspiration, of course, with the new set, because Els did a great introduction and she just showed all of the new supplies, new dies, new stencils, of course the gorgeous new TNs, and Ilse and I were just looking at each other, so who's going to work in which TN. Like I'm doing the square one now, and Ilse did the passport size, because we also made videos for Journal with Us, and we made those with the new collection as well. So if you didn't see those yet, go check them out. They are also on the ourjournalspecials.com website on the blog, so you can see some more videos with the new collection there. But first we're going to create something now in this live. So the square TM, that's what I'm using, and this is the page that I did for Journal with Us. So if you want to see how I made it, it's just a sped up video, but I think it will give you some inspiration. And what I wanted to show you, what I did for this insert that I made for this square TM, because I did it a little bit different than I normally do. Normally I just take our paper, and then I make an insert with watercolor paper and the design papers. But you're going to work in the square one as well, Honora. Yeah, that's cool. It's really hard to choose, and I'm really happy that we have both sizes in the green and black now. So I really love this color. And what I did now, I of course used the design paper, but my the base of my insert is from fabric. So I used like the linen, and I used burlap, and that's what is now the base of my insert. So let's just take a quick look. This is of course the linen that I used at the front, and I also used it on the back. Didn't do anything with this yet. And then you see I sew the design paper on it, just to make it a little bit more sturdy, because it's the cover, of course. So that's why I did the paper on this side. Here we have the background die, and also sew that on the burlap. and on the back just another piece of the design paper, and I just stitched it on these sides. So this is now actually a pocket that I can use. This is just some watercolor paper. Here we have another piece of our paper, and I really liked this part of the paper, so that's what I used. And I have some cork as well on there. This is a pocket as well. Here I didn't make anything yet, so I will build on this, but this is just as a start for starting my pages. Here I put some of the paper on the bottom of this burlap, and the room will be lovely traditional colors as Christmas book. Yes, they would, absolutely. Have you filled your summer journal? Well, Claudia, no, I actually didn't finish that yet. So things just went a little bit different, and I really took 3 weeks completely off this summer. So I didn't do a lot, but work on new designs. So it's not filled yet. So here you see a little piece of that background die. I used that on the front of my booklet, but now I'm using the piece that was left here. This is just empty. Here we have that same background die, but just in a different color, and I left it open here so I can still choose if I want to glue it or just put something behind it. Just a little piece of the paper. Here's some cork. Typo to sew the paper. Oh, okay. I missed. I didn't see the typo, but I think you did say something about sewing it on the paper. How did you stitch the inside of the paper? Do you mean like the how I made this booklet, or how I stitched on the binding side of the paper? Love the cork and the burlap, yummy texture. Yes, it is. It's really fun building on layers on top of it. Barbara, you won something. Congratulations. Must get my sewing machine out. So cool. Yes, it's really cool. I really love using my sewing machine for making the base of these pages. And here I used some jeans, and again this background die, and just like sloppy stitching all over the place, but I really like that as a base to work on. So that's what we're going to do today. Also with all the different textures and materials. Thank you. I will forever think of breakfast cereals when I look at the rolling dice. I think I will probably from since I watched the live from Els just now, I will probably do. This journal is already awesome, Charlene. Thank you, Ingrid. Love your mix of paper, fabric, and stitching. Yes, it's really fun just to, and for some reason the burlap and the cork really is gives that extra feeling of the fall and the texture. So it's really nice. Stitching is always nice on paper. Yes, it always makes your projects look even nicer without doing a lot of work. I'm always too lazy, but it's really you really can do it really fast. It's just like within, I think, 1.5 hours I can make this complete base of the booklet, and then I can start working on it. Well, shoot, now I have to learn to sew. No, because I don't know how to sew at all. I only sew on paper. So let's start with these pages, because I already made the front, like I said, and I want to show you some watercoloring, because I know people always like to see how to build on the colors on some of the specific stamps that we make. And of course I also want to show you how I color in my dies, because I really love coloring those mushrooms. So that's something we're going to do. And of course I'm also going to show you how to use some of our new stencils, and I just was looking which stencil I was going to use, and I decided on this one because here I have some handmade paper, so it really has a really rough texture, and that doesn't make it really nice for stamping, but it is really cool for stenciling. I spent the last few days organizing my ECD dies and trying to make space for new items. Yay, Belinda! New items! Hi, you mentioned sewing. Do you hand sew or use machine? I use machine. And I just use a regular needle, so I just go through my paper and my fabric and everything, and I have to, probably will do this tomorrow, but up until now I never broke a needle. Love the mushroom. I love with those mushroom dies. Yes, they are really fun to use, and you can make them every color that you want, so you can use them again and again and again. So I'm just taking a little piece of white paper just because I don't want to completely mess up my beautiful background. And then I have my stencil, and I'm going to put this piece on top of this, and I just want to do some stenciling on this paper. So I have my modeling paste. I just use a regular white modeling paste from Amsterdam. It's a really big jar because I use it a lot. I need to get my sewing machine fixed soon. Which Daniel Smith colors are ideal to use as fall colors? Oh, we will try to make a little list, maybe on the Art Journal Specials blog or something, to see which colors would match, because I really don't know them out of the top of my head, so I couldn't tell you, because I have my colors for quite some time now. I want the whole collection, it's so beautiful. Oh, thank you, Val. Nice to have the larger stencils too. Yes, we just mix it a little. We have a lot of small ones, and now we just wanted to create some bigger ones. So I'm just taking my spatula and some of the modeling paste, and I'm just going to work on top of this paper. And as you probably know by now, I'm not really a neat crafter, so I just put some here and there just to get some extra texture in my background. So not a lot of modeling paste on my spatula, just touching it and not completely filling it, because I also like the blank space. Just leaving it like this. So I will clean that later. And now I'm going to take my stencil off, and look how cool that looks already. So just putting that beside me. This modeling paste you can actually dry with the heat tool, so I will do that so we can work a little bit faster. Keep moving your heat tool, because else you will burn the modeling paste. It's like plastic based, acrylic based, so that will go and boil and burn eventually. And for the people that haven't seen me work in my journal, I use a lot of modeling paste or texture paste, and what's so nice about them is they almost all have like an acrylic base. That means it's like a little plastic layer, and when you work on top of that plastic layer with your watercolors, they resist. So I'm going to work with watercolors on top of this, and then the stenciling will resist the watercolors. Let's see. I just got a new sewing machine for your birthday. Wow, that's cool, Brooke. Now you know you have to make all the journals with them. Different textures are beautiful in a journal. Yes, I absolutely love that. And just those, I love chunky journals. Els know, because when I met Els when she was here in the Netherlands, I had one of my journals and she was like, that's really chunky. So she actually made a picture of it. Let's see, I'm going to use like a little bit of an orangey color for this as a background, because I want to bring back the color of that background dye a little bit. For my backgrounds, I use a brush that can hold a lot of water, because this paper, this handmade paper, really will take a lot of water in it. So that's why I use a brush that takes a lot of water. I bet you already made some shrink plastic charms with this release too. Actually, I made something with shrink plastic to use on these pages, but I'm not going to show it yet. But you know me too well. So now I'm working with my watercolor, and as you can see, the stenciling works a little bit as a resist, and that really gives a cool effect, don't you think? Have to make handmade paper again fun. Yes, you can make it yourself, of course. I sometimes buy some packs from people that make it. Really like to sponsor them as well with their makings, and I actually didn't do it myself yet. Just a little bit more of the pigments, just to get a little bit of a pop, like the paint on the back on that ground. Yes. So normally I wouldn't heat set my watercolors, but for this live I will do. Thank you for a clear application of color over it. I can't wait to see the outcome. So, actually this is how it looks now. What I'm going to do some splattering, but I'm going to do that when I glued it on the page, because I also want my splatters to be on a complete page. So now I have this, and I just can use a piece of it in my journal, just looking, and just going to rip it a little bit more. So I just want to see some of my background still, and it has to be like this big. A little bit smaller. And because you have that hand made paper, you have really like fuzzy lines where you tear it, so I really like that. I'm just going to put that in here. Some glue. I could also attach it with some, maybe I will attach it a little bit later, because I have something that I want to put in front of it, and I can do that using my stapler. So I'm just going to put this back, and I will attach it later when I have the things on top of it that I want there. So now for some splattering. You better, best when you want to see your splatters on top of your already painted background with the watercolors, first let that background dry and then splatter on top of it. So because you can make some layers with your watercolors, but when the watercolors are still wet, the splatters will disappear in the already wet watercolors. But when you put it on top of dry watercolors, you will see the splatters better. So when you dry them now, you will see them. If you add double sided, at first might still work. Oh, I missed something, I think. I love a splatter, finishes off everything so well. Yes, it does, huh? So that's really made some big splatters now, so they will take some time to dry actually. Maybe just going to heat set them a little bit, and then I'm going off with my little mushroom that I have to color, so this can dry for some time during the live. Make paper with my students, and we put bits of leaves and flowers. Yes, that's really cool, and that's really cool to use in journals as well. So just going to leave that here for now, and let's see what I did. I stamped the little fox, so I wanted to show you how I color in the fox, and I also die cut it one of the mushrooms, the bigger one, because on my front page I already did the one that's a little bit smaller, so I thought I changed things up a little and use this one for now. So first I'm going to show you how I color in that die cutted mushroom. And I really like to use two colors for the top and then just a little bit of a brown color for the bottom part. Just putting a little bit of a white paper behind so you can probably see it better when I color it. Yes, I need to see that so I can try as well. Let's see which colors do I want to use, because I really want that mushroom to pop from the background, so I'm not going to use like the orangey background that I did here, but I do like that greenish color, so probably won't going to use that. Let's see, just a little bit of green. And I'm starting at the bottom of it, just putting it on my pigment. Then I take a brush with only water and I'm just going to lift up the pigments and work them to the top part of the mushroom, because when the sun shines on the top of it. So here it will be hit by sunlight, and then the bottom will be darker and the top part will be lighter. So I always put my pigment on the bottom. And then when it's already red, I'm just putting in more pigments and I just let them run into the water that's already on my paper. And what's so nice with coloring, I'm using my watercolors of course, because I really like that, but if you are going to see all the beautiful examples that our design team made, you will see all kinds of other products used to color in the stamps and the dies, for example. Like Marga made a really nice coloring she did with some of the stamps, and she used the refills of the distress inks. Then we have some people that like to use like markers and everything. Everybody does it what they like best, and all these examples are so pretty. So if you're not into watercoloring and you want to see some really nice other examples, please go and have a look on the social media accounts of Elizabeth Craft Design. Go to the Art Journal Specials Facebook page, like and of course the journaling, Elizabeth Craft Designs journaling Facebook page, because you will see all those cool examples. So now I have some of my green, and I want to put in like a little bit of a brownish red color in this mushroom as well. So I'm just taking my paint and I'm just dabbing that in there. And because it's all wet, all the colors will interact with each other, and that is what makes it really cool to work with watercolors, in my opinion. Thanks so much for this great demo, I'm loving it. Thank you, Honora. So putting in a bit more of that green. So for the fall colors, of course you can make that really nice red and white mushrooms, but you can also use the like a little bit more of those, yeah, I always call them a little bit of dirty colors, because everything always get a little bit of brownish, greenish in fall, of course. So I really think that's always cool to use those colors. Now, because you want to color this bottom part as well, you have to make sure that this part is dry, because if I'm going to use brown and this one part is still wet, my brown colors will also run into this part of my die, and that's not something that I'm looking for now. I wanted these colors to run into each other, but I don't want my brown to go in there. So I have to make sure this is dry, and then I can work with another color beside it. I love the teal and pink mushrooms. Yes, I really do like them too. And I made some blue and orangey mushrooms before, because when I had my stamp collection, I had a complete set of mushrooms in there. I really love coloring those. So that's what I did before. So that's really nice as well. And as you can see now, with my drying, with me drying this paint, the color really got light. So I'm just putting in another layer of paint, because I really want that little bit of reddish brownish color to be a little bit more visible. So that's why I'm putting in another layer. And with watercolor you can absolutely put in more layers on dry paint. Now for some brown for the bottom part, just taking, it will be darkest underneath that little head of the mushroom, and then on one side I put a little bit more color than on the other side, just using a clean brush just to spread out that color a little bit, and then going in. Somebody outside, one of my neighbors was sneezing. I hope you don't heard it on the live. But my window's open, because we actually now have had some summer weather here. We didn't have a lot of summer weather in the Netherlands, but now we have some really nice summer weather. So I think this is okay. I love the bows on your sleeve, thank you. Yes, we could hear that. Yeah, I thought so. Joining late background table cover. Oh, thank you, Sabrina. You know, no, it wasn't a dog barking. So just letting that dry a bit, and then I will go in with pen just to make like those scratchy borders like I did on this one. So I will show you how I do that, but my paint really has to be dry before you go in with the pen, or else your pen will be ruined forever. So now I can get rid of this. Let's see, I wanted to do a little bit of the coloring of the fox, but because you already watched me coloring in that mushroom, I don't want to take too long. Just want to show you where I put my darkest pigments, and then I will show you my finished project because I already made one just before this live. So let's see, I'm taking a little lighter of a brown color, and actually the technique is the same as you watched me do with mushrooms, because here in the stems what we do is we make those little black lines in them as shadows, and that's just a guideline for you for where you can put in most of your pigments. So actually when you put it here, just where his tail starts, then you put there, you put most of your pigments there, and then again with a clean brush you're just going to take that color and just work it into the paper. Of course you need some more pigments, then you put that here and you work with your brush and just letting those colors flow. And you can make the paint do the work for you. And of course you can play with it a little bit. Lovely day in the UK too. Just went to the shops. Jeans and my t-shirt, too warm for a jacket. Yes, I worked from home today because all my appointments were online today, so that was easier for me to work from home. But it was really hot, so I just put on a dress. Nobody could see what I was wearing anyway, because they only can see me from the middle and up. So that's just to give you an idea. Just put some pigment here, because this is where there will be less light hitting the fox, so that's where his darkest parts will be. And then you just work your way to the rest of his body, and here on the top of his back, here on this part of his leg, there will be more sunshine, so you will want to keep that a little bit lighter and don't put that too much of your pigments there. That's when you work with watercolors the way I work with them. Of course, when using different coloring techniques, you can do that completely different, but this is just how I use my watercolors. So I think you get a hang of how I work with them. And then when my fox is finished, this is what it looks like. And what I did, I just took a pen again, made some scribbly lines that gives the effect as if I had drawn this. Of course we did draw it, but when you stamp it again, the lines are just more crisp, so I just want to make them a little bit more sketchy, I think. And I did some splattering on his body, so I really liked that. Email received, might have a wrong start time for today's live. No, I thought it was correct on the email actually. Thank you, Brooke. So this fox will go on this page because I actually thought with the burlap and the background dye, this page didn't need a lot. I will probably print a picture from a specific day or something that we did and just put that behind it, and then this will be a finished page. Thank you, Rui. Now for this page, of course, we have this mushroom that I'm going to finish with my pen. And what I'm doing now is just going a little bit of a sketchy way. I hope you can see that. Just on the borders of the die. Just some thin lines. I'm really using a fine tip pen. This is a 0.05 because I know I will probably get a question about it. Just scribbly lines. And I just give it a little bit more of a definition this way, and just taking the lines in a bit. Like that. And that's the same way I'm working with my stamps as well. So now I have this on my background, I have this, and of course I die cutted some more mushrooms and some more things from our new collection. So what I always also die cutted was this mushroom, because I just thought it would fit well together with the colors in those backgrounds. And of course I really liked this flower die. Just going to put that like that, like this. And now you see the splatters dried, and you can really see them quite well on the pages now. And then I have this one, and I die cutted that out of corrugated cardboard. And of course when you die cut the corrugated cardboard, it flattens a little bit, but I still like the effect. And together with all the other things that I'm using, it's just another texture that I'm adding to my page. Let's see. And then maybe like this, or maybe this one a little bit in front of it. And now you see that it's totally different if you use the die with watercolor paper and with watercolor, or you just using it with the corrugated cardboard. But what I now want to do, now that I see them next to each other, is just get that little line on that corrugated cardboard as well, so they look like they belong to each other a little bit more. Even though one is colored and the other one is just the brownish of the paper. Now, thank you, you're so sweet, you guys, thank you. So, just scribbled on my background as well. And now I'm going to put it like that. I like that better. Maybe it's just me. And now I'm thinking a little bit of jeans that I have laying around here. Would that be nice? Behind that? Let's see. Just a little piece peeking out there. So never throw away old jeans, you guys, because they are great to use in your journals. Just like that. That's cool. I think that's cool. So what we do now is, this is me getting lazy, of course, because now I just take it all and I take my tiny attacher and I'm just going to put my staples through it, so everything is attached to each other and I just can glue it on my page in one time. Like that. I think it looks fun. And here I have a little bit of space to put in one of my fall pictures when we get a change of colors in and a change of weather, of course. Layouts with the mushrooms and the fox. Thank you for the watercolor walkthrough. It's great to see your process. Oh, thank you. So now I'm just putting glue on the back, a little bit on here, and just in one time I'm just going to put it in my journal like this. And I already got a comment and a question about my shrink foil, because if you saw some of my lives before, you know I love the use of shrink foil. I love them as little hangers for our journals, but I also, I will glue that fox on my page as well. But I also like to use shrink foil elements to put words in my journal, because we have some cool quotes, fall quotes in the stamp set again, and they already are small or not that big, because on my first page I use the leaves are falling, autumn is calling, and I put that on watercolor paper and just staple that on top of it. But for this page I thought it would be fun using a shrink foil element, because I didn't want a quote this big, because that was too big for these mushrooms. So I prepped it, and here is my little shrink foil element, and I really think that's too cute. Fall breezes, autumn leaves. Fall breeze, autumn leaves. And that's not too big, so that I can use on this page. So now I'm going to see where I want to put it. Maybe it's cool here, maybe it's just cool here. That's cool, I think. Yes. Oh, Leaf. This sound typical when you're enjoying. Have this sound typical when you're enjoying. Tiny strips are great fun. Yes, they are. So you can really easily just glue them in, because they're really light, so you can really easily use some glue to keep them on their place. And once you shrunk them, the stays on doesn't come off of the plastic anymore. I love your pages. Thank you, Therese. So cute. It's teeny. Yes, it's teeny tiny. We all love those little teeny tiny elements, right, on our pages. That's just too much fun. So I think this page is done for now. These pages actually are done for now. So I used all kinds of elements from our new collection. So I used the background dies, I used the stamps, I used the dies with the mushrooms, of course the design paper, the word stamps, the flowers, and the stenciling. So now you have seen all kinds of new products and how to use them. And keep an eye out, of course, for our design team and the gorgeous things they make. go and take a look at their Instagram accounts, go take a look at everything they post in the Elizabeth Craft Designs Facebook groups, of course, and show them some love, because we are really grateful for all the nice things that they have made already. And Ilse and I just want to thank you for all your nice responses on the new collection, because it's really fun for us to receive so many kind replies to the new collection that we brought out. So I want to thank you. Also, I want to say namens, also on behalf of Ilse. So that's the last thing I wanted to say. Have a really nice day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. So have a nice day, and I will see you again soon. Thank you for watching. Bye bye, you guys.